And this is Sophia and Kitty. And today we're going to show you a video on how to take one of our kits. This is a blue oyster kit, and grow mushrooms on, what is this, Sophie?
A toilet paper roll.
A toilet paper roll. The mushrooms are ready to be eaten, so Sophie, could you take those and break them off and put them on that bowl? Sophie's going to twist those off, and we're going to cook those later. This is a great kid activity to do, and it also shows them how this system that's working all around us in nature is working. We're going to take the root system of the mushroom and put it in here, and this is basically, what's toilet paper made out of, Sophie?
It's made out of trees.
Yeah, it's made out of trees. So this is basically like a little tree, and it's really simple, put in the paper form. And in nature, the mushrooms break down trees so that they can turn back into what?
They can turn back into soil.
Alright, so they turn back into soil. Now about a half hour ago, I poured some hot water on the toilet paper bowl, and the reason for that was that the hot water, the boiling hot water, it's killed all the microorganisms that are on there. So basically pasteurized it, but also it wet it down, and we're going to need water to stay in here in order for the mycelium to grow through this. So it's sat here and it's cooled down to room temperature. You want to be sure that it's cooled all the way back down, and as soon as it cools down, that's when you want to put the mycelium into it. But first, before we start putting it in, we want to squeeze all the extra water out. We don't want to have any water sitting in there. Squeeze it super hard. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. Oh, there you go. All right.
But doesn't it just get soaked back up if you put it back in the
That's a
same
good
bowl?
point. So if he said it doesn't get soaked back up, so I'm going to drain this off so it doesn't get soaked back up. And you hold that right there. Okay, put it back in there. By the way, before we did this, Sophie and I washed our hands really well. We want to keep everything clean that's going to come into contact with this. Okay. So now we're going to take this. I'm just going to tear this bag open, and Sophie and I are going to take little chunks off of it, and we're going to first fill in the center hole. Alright, Sophie has this pretty well packed in there, as much as she can get. Now we're going to take this and we're going to spread the rolls, and we're going to pack just a little bit inside of the rolls. We don't need to pack a lot in there, but we'll spread it out a little bit. So we'll take a little bit and we'll pack it down in there too. The more we spread this around, the faster it's going to grow. We have this full, so if we pack that very full of the mycelium, and now at this point we're going to take this and we're going to put it into a plastic bag because we want it to stay moist, and we're going to let it sit for 3 to 6 weeks before it starts to grow. So if you want to grab that bag, and we've also put the date on here so we know how long it's been in there. So when I seal this bag, I'm not going to seal it all the way up, and you can use just a regular plastic bag you get from the grocery store, as long as there is some air. Now this we're going to put in a warm, dark place, and we're going to keep it there, and after about 3 weeks we're going to check it. We're going to start checking it daily or every few days after 3 weeks, and we're going to start looking for little growth. When we see the small mushrooms start to grow out, we're going to take the humidity tent from our kit, that original tent that came with the kit, and we're going to put it back over the top and mist it just like we did your original kit. And within a week or so, it's going to produce mushrooms.
Now look what it's grown to.
In 6 weeks of growth, here is our roll of toilet paper. You can see we have 2 good-sized mushrooms that have come out. Now, one thing I want to make clear at this point is that this is just for an experiment. We don't want to eat these mushrooms because we don't know what kind of chemical processes went into making